Hola, buenas a todos desde el canal LPA. Esta semana hemos llegado a los 200 suscriptores en poco menos de 2 meses, lo cual está muy bien, estamos contentos debido a que solo subimos un vídeo a la semana, como ya sabéis. Tenemos una política de subir solo un vídeo a la semana porque creemos que a día de hoy no podemos subir vídeos con la calidad necesaria en menos tiempo, ya que nos dedicamos a trabajar y a otras cosas. Pero de todas maneras, como digo, 200 suscriptores en poco menos de 2 meses nos parece una muy buena cifra y estamos muy contentos. Y hemos hecho este vídeo especial, que va a ser un vídeo dedicado a la categoría de partidas que no te puedes perder, porque es la partida entre Evil Geniuses y FNATIC. Si no recuerdo mal, cuando se jugó esta partida ambos estaban empatados a puntos en la LCS Europa, en primera posición, y Evil Geniuses llevaba una racha imbatible, en especial su mid, Froggen, con Anivia. En todas las partidas le baneaban a Anivia porque con Anivia estaba intratable, no perdía una sola partida, ganaron a Gambit Gaming y a prácticamente todos los equipos, siempre y cuando no le banearon a Anivia, y por eso a partir de ese momento nadie le había permitido cogerlo. Y FNATIC jugó una apuesta arriesgada. Decidió dejar a Anivia libre para así saber seguro que iba a coger Froggen en mid, y diseñaron una estrategia en torno a ser conocedores al 100% de los picks que iban a hacer Evil Geniuses. Lo que hicieron fue, saben la estrategia que siguen Eje contra cualquier equipo siempre que tienen Anivia, que es que cambian las líneas, van el carry y el support a top, y el bot se queda con Renekton abajo. Entonces FNATIC lo que pensó fue, pues como el top no va a farmear, porque no va a poder farmear contra dos, lo que voy a hacer es mandar un support con runas de utilidad. Y al medio voy a mandar otro campeón también con runas de utilidad, y así fue. Vamos a ver a un peque con Katarina medio con runas de utilidad. Vamos a ver cómo el oro de FNATIC sube automáticamente, prácticamente sin farmear. Y vamos a ver un Blitzcrank en top con runas de utilidad también y maestrías de utilidad, con lo cual su oro también va a subir fácil y no va a necesitar farmear. Además de eso, pensar que ese Blitzcrank, por poco que farmee, ya va a farmear más que un support normal, con lo cual se va a hacer mucho mejor. Siempre es mejor, lo que ellos pensaron fue que es mejor tener un support arriba que no necesita farmear que un personaje que necesite farmear y que no va a poder. Luego abajo mandaron a Leona. ¿Y por qué? Pues porque pensaron que Blitzcrank más Leona son dos campeones que juntos tienen la facultad de anular a un campeón prácticamente por completo. O sea, entre que te coge Blitzcrank, te stunea Leona, te lanza por los aires Blitzcrank, te silencia, y luego Leona te mete otra vez sus dos stuns, la ulti, etcétera, no te da tiempo a hacer absolutamente nada. Y lo que hicieron fue así anular a Froggen. Es una partida muy interesante precisamente porque vamos a ver eso, un Blitzcrank en top, cosa que no se suele ver, y porque además es una partida que es un despliegue de estrategia pura y dura de FNATIC, pues con la que consiguieron ganar a Evil Geniuses y ponerse los líderes de la LCS. Y nada más, os dejamos con la partida y espero que la disfrutéis.
Against Evil Geniuses, but we are into champion select now. The bans coming thick and fast, no time wasted here between EG and FNATIC. So far we have a Vi ban for EG, Lux banned out there by FNATIC, Kassadin banned out by Evil Geniuses. We all know what Especial can do with Kassadin. Xin Xiao banned out there for EG as well. I mean, we've seen how good Cyanide is in the jungle. We know how strong that Xin Xiao is in the jungle, and a Caitlyn ban there as well, coming out for Evil Geniuses.
And the final ban from FNATIC was, in fact, Thresh. So this is something that was a talking point that we brought up right at the beginning of the day. We actually caught up with Crepo and said, well, what's going to happen? What do you think is going to be in there? What's going to work? And what Crepo did actually say was, if Thresh gets banned, I'm going to pick Sona. And you can see its first pick, insta-lock. He's got that support locked in. They haven't revealed their cards. Evil Geniuses have played so many different champions already these last 2 or 3 weeks. On the other side, though, we see Enrated. He's going to be rocking his Blitzcrank, and everybody knows how powerful Enrated is on that electric golem.
Well, it's like, come on, guys, if you're not going to let me play Thresh, Then at least let me play Blitzcrank. At least let me have some hook ability in this game. And he has gone for that one. Obviously, Kale locked in there as well for FNATIC. At the end of the day, the beauty of Kale right now is can go pretty much anywhere. Can be filling a lot of different roles. We saw, you know, how powerful that Kale ultimate is. I say we've seen that more than one time over the last few weeks. Right now, EG sat with a Renekton. We know how good the Wicked has been with Renekton, and also with Shen, where, you know, he got his Bricked name, but the Renekton was where he really stood out there. He's played it 3 times, and he's won 3 times with that Renekton with an 11.3 kill-death assist ratio, which is just phenomenal.
That's something that's so scary. He's not only playing a champion that he's extremely comfortable with, we know how solid he is in the top lane. I was reading a tweet that he sent out earlier saying, I'm so happy to play against Soaz in the top lane again. I hope he doesn't run to bottom lane. So they're getting a little bit of bait, a little bit of taunt coming out there, but some very exciting picks, because it does look like Leona's been locked in, and Leona was used in the jungle over in NA. So Leona jungle, it's slow clear time, but extremely powerful ganks. Could this be the jungle champion for FNATIC?
Well, it could be.
It could be Jungle Blitz. I mean, look,
it could be Jungle Blitz as well. So we're left guessing. More importantly than us, forget about us, evil geniuses are now like, where are they going to go with this one? What are they going to go for? There's a Volibear, which doesn't surprise it. I never thought that I'd be sitting here saying, oh, there's another Volibear in the jungle. Doesn't really surprise us at this point. And guess what? They didn't ban out Nivea.
Immediately locked in actually before the Volibear, and I seen Snoopy was actually practicing Volibear on his stream earlier in the week, getting to grips with it, wrapping his mind around it, and trying to pick this composition up. I imagine this is going to be a jungle Leona, and the reason I think that Blitzcrank is a really good counter to Sona. In those early levels, if you can grab her, it's pretty much going to be an insta-kill. With a little bit of damage from double up and some DPS coming down from those impure shots, it's going to reduce the healing. It's going to be a very easy kill if those hooks can, you know, get landed. My question here is now, if that's going to be a Kayle in the mid lane, my assumption is this might be the top lane that's going to be picked in. This is my guesswork right now. The Enrated, the look of focus, chatting to the rest of the team, and I think they're even deciding where they're going to go. Maybe this is going to be Kayle top then.
Yeah, maybe. Blitzcrank top, Leona top. They're obviously going to be switching around here. That's going to give us a bit more of an idea for this one. Right now, Soaz is running Ignite Flash. He's just switched to that, and it looks like he's going to be playing this Blitzcrank in the top lane. They could switch, obviously, last minute.
Yeah, there's 38 seconds left, so I'm not going to get too excited until they do the last swap, but a Blitzcrank top against Renekton, if this is actually going to be the way it's been played out, it's going to be there's some theory crafting behind it. You know, the silence, the knock-up, the pullback. He's going to be able to just throw on that overdrive to run away once Renekton does engage in a fight, get the silence down so slice and dices are cancelled. And the ganks with Kayle will be very, very powerful, because it's a lot of CC. Silence, pullback, knock-up, slow, etc. 8 seconds left on the clock. We're going to see if this does get swapped out, but potentially double teleport Blitzcrank top lane from FNATIC.
There's Snoopy looking as focused as ever, and it's looking like it will be that Blitzcrank in the top lane. No last-minute switches coming out. FNATIC, it should be noted in there as well, are running double teleport in the top and the middle lane.
A complete map focus. You can. This is just the players chatting at the moment. I'm sure you can hear it on the stream, talking about Volibear, talking about. Here we go, talking about the teleports to play. It's great to actually listen in and hear the players at Cyanide there just chatting about how they're going to pick these engagements. It's so difficult to see how this is going to work, and I think Froggen's going to have to be on point. Look, I'm not questioning Froggen's and Nivea, right? Don't get me wrong here.
You'd be a fool to do that.
Okay, but if those crystallized walls are even a tiny bit off, Volibear and Renekton, they're not really going to be able to be as impactful. But of course, once somebody has been tossed back, put that wall down, block it off from Katarina, from Blitzcrank to jump across. But you've got all these abilities. Katarina can just shunpo over. Bullet time's going to be effect over the wall. Leona can dive through it. Blitzcrank can pull somebody back. So that crystallized wall is going to be important, but it's not going to be absolutely game-changing like we have seen in many different compositions, like when they ran it against Gambit Gaming.
Well, let's see here. What do you expect here at level 1 quick shot right now? They're on opposite sides of the river to each other. EG again going as that unit that we've seen before, putting that ward down again. Crepo does have that pink ward for him as well. So a pretty standard start in terms of what we've seen so far for EG. We see FNATIC stick a ward in there on that curve brush in the bottom lane. But again, my question still stands. are we going to see anything here?
It looks like it. The thing is, FNATIC are probably going to walk over this ward right now. I expect that they will be aware that there's vision. You can see on the minimap as they're hovering around that raid camp, they know that there's going to be some vision in and around the raids. Evil Geniuses have gone north. They've gone through the tri-bush, which is a little different to what we've seen out of them previously. They're going to try and steal this red buff away, which will slow down Cyanide's early jungling and early gank presence somewhat. A huge number of pings, and you can see they are spot on. They are on one another's heads. They know exactly where they are. And it's just this Mexican standoff right now as each team is waiting for the other to draw, and whoever does it first is potentially going to get shut down because a Blitzcrank hook is so powerful at low levels. We've already seen a exploratory one as Peke is going to start backing away, puts a ward down for some vision.
Yeah, and there's the pink ward coming straight out from Crepo, as we expected to do. As soon as he gets a sniff that a ward was put down in that position, Yellow Star actually up in the tri-bush. He's going to be hitting recall right now, and that's not a position he can afford to get sandwiched in. And in the end, actually, I mean, he's got flash anyway to escape over the top to the rest of his teammates, as blue buff is going to be taken here early on by Snoopy, forced to use the smite just to be sure.
Well, he got his blue buff. They haven't lost anything. No buffs have been stolen away. A lot of vision and sight wards have been put down. You see that north side of the river is just peppered with Evil Genius's wards. And that's going to give them so much information in these opening minutes of the matchup. You can see, I said right at the start, Wicked was saying, hey, Soaz, let's fight. Let's go toe-to-toe. Anticipating the lane swap and has actually gone down. So we're going to have the solo laners being in the bottom lane. And, of course, for Evil Geniuses and Soaz is up top. We'll see who's going to be more negatively affected.
Cyanide going very low there in the jungle, and after that, we'll see if he actually decides to go. He does have, obviously, those pots running, the 5 that you can pick up with that Hunter's Machete, but we've noted so many times before about Soaz how varied of a champion pool this guy has. He's seamlessly got no end. I mean, we saw him bringing out Kha'Zix in there in the top lane very early on, the Elise coming out in the top lane, Jace in the top lane he was very strong with as well. So, you know, who knows, maybe he's just starting another trend here with this Blitzcrank. I'm
digging back into my memory, and I'm pretty confident in this, but when FNATIC were playing at the campus party in Berlin last year, August, take a look at this. Wicked has been stunned up, takes a bit of damage and just backs away. The very last matchup of the day, they were on an absolute steamroll, and FNATIC actually put Soaz in the bottom lane support and allowed Enrated to play top solo lane. And when Soaz was playing support in that matchup, he actually played Blitzcrank as well. So it's a champion that he's obviously familiar with and knows. My question is just how it's going to work in terms of these ganks.
Oh, Enrated again getting the stun down onto Wicked, who's facing a good bit of poke there. Interested to see how Peke plays this one against Froggen, obviously on Anivia. Now he needs to be very careful there with Snoopy just coming in from the side on that volley bet. But in the end, just will back away from it. No real danger posed to him there, as we see more wards being put down by Froggen. There's that pink ward, obviously, from earlier by Crepo on the top side of his middle lane. He's just put that one on the bottom side, so got plenty of vision for now. One thing that FNATIC have that we didn't really talk about too much up until this point is the fact that they do have double teleporting here, so it can very easily turn from, you know, in their bottom lane, especially a 2-on-1 to a 4-on-1.
The thing about those double teleports as well, the longer this matchup goes, once we get to that mid-game phase, lanes being pushed, towers being pushed, etc., the split push power that you're going to have with both of them is Enrated gets locked down, actually, and takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, we saw, actually, Wicked getting ignited up there by Enrated. Just wants to force him as far back as he can. He's probably hoping that they could actually lock down Renekton for the kill. That didn't quite work out for him, but we said before, Wicked's 11.3 KDA ratio, I think it was, that we looked at before the game started on this Renekton is pretty fearsome. You can see Snoopy there next to the tower. He's just waiting to get some opportunity in this one, as we are going to see him slice and dice away. They'll throw Enrated back towards the tower. He's going to be forced to flash. The teleport coming down actually was cancelled in the end. That was from Soaz.
Soaz cancels it, gets half the cooldown back. If he'd managed to get through there and landed a hook, Hook City, that could have been first blood. Snoopy and Wicked are both relatively low. I mean, Wicked, 200, 300 hit points, Snoopy 400, 500. But it was Enrated that was really under the most pressure. He was the closest to actually dying, forced to burn that flash to get to safety. And if he gets caught again, one more of those Ruthless Predator stuns could potentially cost him his life. Once he gets a few more levels, he's going to get a bit more survivability with that Eclipse, with his W, get some armor and magic resist, etc. But it's going to take him a little while to get to that sort of tanky state.
And we see Soaz trying his best to farm up in this top lane. with that Blitzcrank. If we compare the CS of these 2v1 lanes, 18 for Blitz, 15 for Renekton, as we are going to see Yellowstar come flying out here. Enrated was just joining in, double up going to connect, but Enrated too far behind to really join that party, and it looks like Wicked going to send himself up home as Peke there in a little bit of danger. The auto attack going to come in. Is the ignite going to be enough? Yes, it is. Final tick as he shumpoed back under the tower, and that will be first blood to Froggen. And I have one thing to say. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, indeed. That auto attack traveling at the speed of a snail, flying through the air, lands that last little ice crystal. You know, snowing in Cologne, the last snow crystal allows that final tick of Ignite to pick up the kill. Amplifying Tome, Tear of the Goddess. Froggen is already looking scary.
Yeah, and still, I know so many teams ban out Anivia against Froggen, and when we don't, we generally see him doing amazingly well on it. So I still think it's a ban that you have to do. I still think it's a ban that against Evil Geniuses should be standard for every single team. I'm from FNATIC's point of view, sure. I feel free to prove me wrong on that one. I in a way hope that they do here, because that might open up a bit more Anivia for Froggen in the future. You know, he's always saying in interviews, my Anivia's not that strong, but I think that's more of a bait.
So we'll see if it actually works or not. We were having a chat to some of the developers and NA guys last week from Riot with regards to Froggen's auto attack animation, and Riot Magus was saying he'd love to see a more crisp and a more fluid auto attack from Anivia.
No, you'd like to see slower ones, because it just makes it all that more painful, as we see here Enrated getting stunned up by Wicked. And I tell you what, he's going in here for Enrated. He's going to try with this one, but has he overextended? And Leona goes back in there, not able to pick up anything, and there's the beauty of that ultimate.
Ignite was not available for Wicked. If it was there, Ignite and a couple more ticks of Dominus may have actually been able to pick up a kill, but that's a 1 versus 2 Renekton winning those exchanges. 1 versus 2, going deep and picking it up. We've done a lane swap. They sent Wicked back up to the top lane. FNATIC anticipated it, seen it coming, and they've responded with a lane swap of their own. They do not want to have the Blitzcrank versus Renekton 1v1 right now, and we'll see how it pans out. Even with First Blood on the cards, FNATIC are even on gold. They are keeping up in terms of the cash, and that's quite impressive, because CS-wise, it's pretty much bang on even across the board.
Yeah, really close one right now, as again, Peke just get in there to harass Froggen, who does have that blue buff now. Yeah, saw him picking that one up a little bit earlier on. But as we were saying about the animation, that auto, it's almost like the old banana, you know. It just made so many great moments, and so much more painful when you die to it, and as it's flying through the air to hit that one last time. But yeah, I mean, I still think that Anivia, I think it's going to come back to bite FNATIC.
The mechanical skill and knowledge of Froggen, as we were discussing and talking about, he's like, no, actually I wouldn't like that. Because of the pace or the speed of that auto attack animation, you can last hit CS and farm and back away before the attack hits, which means you don't pull any aggro of the creeps. So, you know, just the complete 100% understanding of how it all fits together and works is the reason that Froggen is so powerful on that bird. Up in the top lane, you could see that Cyanide was sniffing around, moved towards trying to set up a lane gank, but fortunately Wicked is just too deep, too, far out of range, and unfortunately decides to back off. And we've just had a relatively slow start to this matchup.
Yeah, holy crap, really close there from Soaz. Obviously, Yellow Peak got plenty of mana, can just arcane shift away if he, if he doesn't get knocked up and silence in the whole time of it. But we can see the EG now on the Dragon. The question is, will FNATIC be able to respond to this one with the numbers that they really need to stop it happening? Peke is off towards the side. Dragon is fairly low. Peke is going to come in. It is taken in the end. Snoopy actually fairly low. There's a true shot barrage. In comes the Kale ultimate. The stun not quite connecting. Peke trying to escape. Soaz going very low as well, but EG just don't quite have enough damage to finish them off.
And they didn't have the movement speed to keep chasing. They got them so low. Peke's Death Lotus did practically nothing in that engagement. Started channeling it, immediately tossed back, and just, the amount of damage he could put out was shut down immensely. I believe Soaz got off the silence right near the end of the fight, but he'd actually used it to farm up as Yellowstar gets stunned and Wicked goes for the kill.
Yeah, standing turret side of him. There's Leona coming around the side. We're going to see the teleport coming over from Peke as well. Wicked going low. He's going to try and do as much damage as he can here to Yellow Star, but he's not escaping this one. And you see barrier being used there by Yellow Star to get rid of this ignite. And one more tick. Probably would have had him there, but they've survived it. And that is the very much important part. However, EG trying to capitalize. They've done good damage to mid tower, and they're going to take the bottom tower. That'll be the first of the game.
And Yellow Star was standing, tanking up that immense creep wave for the entirety of that battle. Wicked moves back into the lane to get some more damage from Dominus, get the ignite ticking, and allow his creeps to actually deal some damage. Froggen just gets interrupted by one of those sinister steals from Pekka, and he's just going to back off, but almost picking up that kill. And it's the reason that Wicked is just so scary on Renekton. He knows exactly how much damage he can deal, almost picking up a kill in what was a 1 versus 3.
Now we see middle turret is going to be pressured by FNATIC. Wicked actually will be working himself up towards that one to protect it. Cyanide takes a hit from the tower. We'll heal pretty much that back over, actually, with those double buffs on right now. Let's see what FNATIC going to go for here. Expeke headed up towards this top lane. Volibear is in fact there, but there's a ward on the ramp either way for EG, so they would have spotted that one coming, and Volibear already on the recall as well. Just looking to what Soa's actually built up so far, because I'm sure that's interesting for quite a lot of people. Kindle Gem, Philosopher's Stone, so nothing really too big and surprising as of this point. Still be interesting to keep an eye on that one as we go through, though. And now Cyanide actually getting a couple of hits from Yellow Pete. He's just going to speed himself up and get out.
It's interesting to see that Soaz hasn't built any mana just yet, because that mana barrier gets so powerful as he does build up a larger collection of mana. But with
this barrier, right? If you do it right.
Exactly. But with the dragon down, with the tower down, Evil Geniuses only have an 800 gold lead, so FNATIC, even though they're behind effectively, they're not falling too far behind. This game is really close. The towers are down, you know, the bottom lane, and FNATIC are grouping up here in the middle lane. They want to shove this map objective and start playing this team game. Start getting the silence from Blitzcrank, the Zenith Blade from Leona into play, and really trying to shut somebody down, because if they do catch somebody, it could be an easy kill.
Look at those wards just around the corner from each other. Like, almost on top of each other, but out of sight. The interesting one about that. Let's see then what FNATIC going to go for. You're obviously looking for those hooks over the top of the wall. They obviously don't know that one's there. There's a nice wall being put down as they try and get the blue buff, and they only get that small lizard out, which, you know, is a bonus, I suppose, but at the end of the day, it's not exactly what they were aiming for from that situation. But as you said, the gold's still fairly close. Is Yellow Pete here going to be pressured by Yellow Star? And Yellow Star's early damage, I mean, they've got pretty much identical items right now. Only really the dagger is what separates them out. And FNATIC are headed as a group to this top lane.
FNATIC are showing they want to play the team game. They've stuck together for the last 2.5, 3 or so minutes. They literally trying to push down the middle lane, didn't really have the creeps to do so, and now they've decided they want to put some focus in this top lane. But 3 members of the Evil Geniuses are there to defend it. True Shot Barrage to clear out the wave. They're going to get a little bit of damage down. Yellow Pete's been caught. There's no shield at Daybreak. Finally comes down. Solar Flare is up, but a great crescendo from Crepo.
Yeah, but is it going to be enough? The grab coming in onto Snoopy. He's pulled back in there. That's 2 kills. Will it be more? Expeke obviously getting helped out there. Getting the assist in for that one. He goes in towards Crepo again. I think he felt it was a trap the way he was recalling in the middle of the lane like that. In fact, it wasn't. Crepo is going to go away, but FNATIC will pick up that outer turret in the top lane. That will bring them even now in turrets. Obviously, their bottom lane went, and they've picked up that top one. Peke going to be headed home again. In the meantime, Blitzcrank had to just head off Wicked, who was pushing that bottom lane up towards the inner turret.
Yeah, forced to use the teleport. The entire time that fight was going on, Wicked was just, AFK farming, pushing that wave down. He's already got a 20 CS lead. Giant's belt in his back pocket. Got some money to spend. But after that Zenith Blade landed and, Yellow Pete used his arcane shift to put some distance between himself and Enrated Leona, I thought, okay, good, he's got away, he's safe. But no, Enrated showing why he's considered to be one of the best Leona players. Flashed in, landed the Q, the shield at Daybreak, stunned them up, and then right on top of it, Solar Flare. So Ezreal was completely stun locked and could go absolutely nowhere.
See that FNATIC got a good hold in terms of ward coverage on that top side of the EG jungle. We'll see what plays that can bring them in the near future. Dragon is up in just 40 seconds time, so We'll see if FNATIC will be ready for that one. They actually have a couple of pink wards down there on that bottom side by Dragon, so really trying to gain the vision advantage on that side of the map. Yellow Star is actually in the top lane right now, and with 20 seconds to go, we'll see if FNATIC can hold onto that one, especially with the fact that Froggen is in here. They're going to get the stun down onto Soaz.
Soaz has been caught. Overdrive is on. He's trying to get away. The slow is there, and we just see Peke just backing away with the Shimpo. Soaz was caught. They didn't exactly all in. True Shot Barrage still available. You know, Wicked wasn't too close in terms of diving in there, but it just felt like poke. Evil Geniuses didn't want to pick an engagement. Dragon is up, and we'll see whether or not FNATIC can challenge.
Oh, Froggen just about avoiding everything there as a pull comes in, but that could actually be disastrous as Peke gets right into the middle. Snoopy and Crepper both very, very low here. Neither of them finished off just now as Cyanide will go down. Snoopy is still low. Yellow Pete will actually flash there to try and get away from this one, and that's not going to be a chase coming in for FNATIC. That was a 1-for-1. You can see how low both teams are after that engagement, though.
The great focus from Evil Geniuses. They put so much damage down into Peke, which meant even though he got the reset, he was too low to carry on fighting. He couldn't dive back in there with the Shimpo, even though the cooldown was available. So forced to back away, and that hook, even though it landed, it was probably the worst target. It grabbed Wicked. He just went, oh, I don't need to flash in to carry on with this fight. I'll just throw on my ulti, put some damage down. They trade 1-for-1, but FNATIC do get the middle tower, which means at the end of the day, they came out in the superior position.
And the interesting thing is, of course, that Dragon wasn't taken in those last moments. So Dragon is still up for the taking. Who's going to get in there first? It's FNATIC that are going to get it started off. Yellow Star with that red buff on here. EG certainly not going to be giving that one away, as another pings down will give them the extras as they put one on top of the other FNATIC pink ward that was put in place earlier on. And that means that EG not really got much to work with in terms of sight, as another ward strangely goes right down on top of it. That's going to allow FNATIC an extra 25 gold.
And the longer this drags out, the closer we're going to get to ultimates. Keep your eyes on those cooldowns. Dominus is almost there for Wicked to Renekton, and those Thunderclaws from Snoopy are available. Very, very key is the Solar Flare from Enrated. Leona's got that CC, and if they continue to stall, we're about to get bullet time available as well. So this is going to be another massive engagement. Wicked, a couple of seconds left before his ulti is available, and if FNATIC continues stalling, it's going to be a reset of the previous engagement, and whoever lands his abilities first will be able to pick up the win.
FNATIC now going to be starting off Dragon, but will they trade an outer turret and be it the middle one, an important one in the grand scheme of things that will go down? They have now picked up the Dragon. Where does that leave us in terms of gold? 24.8 to 22.7, 2,200 gold separating them right now. 4-2 in kills, but level on turrets. You can see there the individual gold. Froggen got a 6.2 to 5.8 thousand gold difference, obviously in the lead between the two AD carries. Actually a little bit more significant, and that's with the 3-0-1 that Yellow Star is currently dragging around with him, plus the CS advantage as well.
Yeah, it's such a huge creep wave there for Wicked to pick up and just nom and get that farm to work towards his Sunfire Cape, which is looking like what he wants to build and get towards. We'll see whether or not FNATIC have learned that against a collection of magic damage from Anivia, from the AoE from Wicked's ultimate, from Sunfire Cape, from the magic damage from those Lightning Claws, an Aegis of the Legion into a Runic Bulwark will be very, very important.
Yes.
One of the things when we were looking at the gold, though, Yellow Star had about 1,200 gold advantage over Yellow Pete. So at the moment, in terms of carry versus carry, Misfortune is a little bit stronger.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the items, as they did just go back there. Bloodthirster, Pickaxe, and the Berserker Greaves currently done for Misfortune. And you see that gold difference coming into play there in terms of the items, what they've got extra on top of that one. Yellow Pete obviously not having that Pickaxe in there going forward. Wicked has got the Sunfire Cape now finished. Spirit of the Elder Lizard done for Kale. Haunting Guys, Revolver, Sork Shoes, and an Amp Tome for Katarina, compared to Will of the Ancients, the Chalice, and the Tear in there for Froggen Zanivia.
He's got that lifesteal, which is going to be so important to survive the massive burst that's going to come down from Katarina, from Misfortune, the bullet time, as well as Death Lotus, Sinister Steel, etc. So the longer the fights go, the better it's going to be for Froggen. in terms of itemizing an Anivia, you never know what he's going to build because he's used pretty much every single item as Yellowstar's been caught.
Yeah, we are going to see Enrated go in. There's the bullet time coming down as well. Froggen going to get egged right in the middle of the team. He is a dead man from that one. And what a pickup. I mean, Yellowstar was caught on the other side of the wall. Didn't really react to it whatsoever. And he was like, well, you come get me. And that's exactly what happened in the end. FNATIC picking up a vital kill in that one. And without that Anivia, it's going to be really hard to control with his minions coming in, how FNATIC push on this tower. And as you can see, they start to back off.
So important. And as Misfortune got caught, I wondered why was the intervention being used so early. Cyanide dropped his ulti onto MF as soon as that began, and it ended up saving her. She's got no damage on her at all. The rest of FNATIC just collapsed. The shot caller, oh, take a look at this. Yellowstar's gone so deep. Forced to use the barrier. They try to focus Yellow Pete, but he manages to get to safety.
Peke going in there, though. He's going to finish off Yellow Pete here. That's going to give him the chance to jump over. He jumps over to the wall, uses Q, which will land, finishes off Sona. Shumpo's out again, showing his skill there with that micromanagement play. And the question is now, what is FNATIC's next move? They will back away from this one, knowing that they've done a great job of picking up a couple of kills here and there, plus that inner middle turret, but they're not done just yet. So as coming around the side, can he land the hook? In the end, doesn't go for it.
I stand to be corrected, but I believe Enrated is the primary shot caller when it comes in-game in terms of calls and whatnot. And I tell you what, he is on point. Those last two engagements saying, go, as soon as Yellowstar got caught, netted them a kill and a tower. They carry on fighting. I initially thought, Yellowstar, what are you doing? He dives into the lane, throws on his barrier, and it was full-on bait. It was the biggest carrot that you could dangle, and the evil geniuses took the bait, cost them, another day.
Yeah, and that's the interesting way to play this one, because most teams would never think about using their AD carry as bait. It just could be too dangerous in the grand scheme of things. But when you've got a Kayle in there, like, you can shield pretty much everything that they throw at him until the rest of the team reacts in there. And then you can really change how things go, because naturally teams see, oh, look at that, we've walled a Misfortune in. They're going to throw everything that they've got to burst that Misfortune down. And if she's invulnerable, well, it obviously doesn't work, and then you're open to just push back, which is what FNATIC went for there. They tried it a little bit more crudely with the barrier. That works out for them as well. But we'll see how that goes here in the future. I'm sure EG wising up to that old trick.
Well, I'm taking a look at the team compositions, and I'm having flashbacks to DreamHack Winter, where, in the series they were playing, Game 1, Evil Geniuses won. FNATIC were playing sort of a standard comp in that regards. They lost the game. Game number 2, Peke was playing Diana, and he was simply impeccable. He did not make
expeccable.
He was expeccable. I like that one. And he sort of carried the team to victory. Game number 3, you could see FNATIC going, all right, what do we do for this matchup? And they did something a little different. I mean, the Bruiser meta was really coming into its own at that time, but Jax, Xin Zhao, and Lee Sin, they just threw all three of them at them. That's how they managed to beat Evil Geniuses. This matchup, they've thrown Blitzcrank into the solo lane. It's something we don't see. It's different. It's a bit oddball. But it's 006. You've got, Yellowstar 502 at the moment. They're playing their oddball composition perfectly. And Evil Geniuses just seem a little unsure how to deal with it. How do you survive a Blitzcrank hook when you're pulled into 5 members?
Well, one thing they do have, and you were having your flashbacks to DreamHack Winter, I have my flashbacks to DreamHack Summer when I see Evil Geniuses behind with an Anivia on the team. We could be in for a long one, as we are going to see them pull that blue buff out of the back. Crepo's like, damn it, there you guys. They just pulled that blue buff away and took it away from us. And that's what FNATIC are going to be aiming for now, starving them on every possible occasion and pushing out when they have the chance. We see Especial down the bottom. He's got teleport. He can afford to do that all day long and still get in there with his team.
Yeah, and both teleports are up as well, so if Soaz decides to do something similar, they can, of course, have that map presence. And, Evil Geniuses are so good at map control. They will only push a tower when they have creeps available. Dragon Spawns, FNATIC are on point. They pick this one up uncontested, and it's just going to come down to these calls. If Enrage keeps making the good engagement calls of go, stop, push, etc., they're setting themselves up really, really good for this mid-game stage.
So as just running his way in there over towards Yellow Pete, looking for that one single grab, and that's typical Blitzcrank. One grab can be a game changer. Missing a single grab like that can be a good game changer, as Yellow Pete comes around the corner. He's like, oh my god, Soaz is there. He lands a full range grab onto Froggen. The wall just about saving them. And as you said, they can't really move forward there, but they've got plenty of abilities that can just go straight through the wall anyway.
The entire time that's happening, Pekka is pushing this bottom lane. You can see members of FNATIC starting to rotate towards that bottom lane. If they had creeps in the middle, if there was creeps there, they could possibly have taken that inhibitor turret. But instead, they're going to shove down this bottom lane, probably pick this tower up once Yellow Star gets onto it. And another huge rocket grab from Soaz, really setting the tide of that engagement.
That was a grab from Blitzcrank over the top of the wall, narrowly missing Snoopy as well. EG all as a team reacting to the action in this bottom lane here. Wondering if FNATIC are going to end up piling onto them if they get that right target out. Obviously, depends a lot on the Blitzcrank cooldown as well.
Exactly. I'm looking at the items, looking at the teams, and something that, you know, it's just dawned on me. The longer this game goes, I think the less likely FNATIC are to be able to win these team fights. If they get a good, so close to catching Wicked. If they get a good engagement with Leona, Pekka has been caught up, the wall is up, but Enrated decides to chase, Zenith Blade misses. They've got two support players. Blitzcrank and Leona are both utility supports. Now, fair enough, MF, Cat, and Kale can do a lot of damage, but if they don't do enough to kill Volibear, Renekton, and Nivea twice, they're going to lose that team fight.
Yeah, exactly. Good thing that they have is that Kale in there. That's going to counter it somewhat, especially if Misfortune carries on this path. 5-0-2 currently is Yellow Star. Got that Bloodthirster, got the Last Whisper in there as well. But you can see that FNATIC, far from really confident having a 5-on-5 engagement. They want to get those picks. They want that hook in there so that they can decimate one player before the rest of it, all happens. Then they're in that 5-on-4, which is when they will start to feel comfortable.
And you see what they're doing as well. They see that Evil Geniuses was trying to push the bottom lane, so they went up to defend. Snoopy is in hook range, but Soaz decides not to throw it out. And they don't burn the teleports. FNATIC just run back. There are a number of blue and red pings in this middle tower. Evil Geniuses are diving for as quick as they can. We might see a teleport being used to save this tower if they don't have anybody in place.
Yeah, they need to react to this one. Misfortune is going to throw down as much as he can, and there we go. Bullet time used, which EG won't be too unhappy about. Bullet time's down. It's a big source of damage should they end up getting into a fight. So as he's running, he's going to flash in there for the hook. Quick flash away as well from, who was it actually? It was Sona and Froggen. No, Froggen didn't flash away. He's on half of his cooldown already. It was Sona that flashed in that one. They were pretty much all right on top of each other. But again, ulti burn for Misfortune, they'll probably happily take that with a flash down now on Sona. An easy target for when that hooks up next time.
Yeah, exactly. The cooldown on flash is significantly higher than that level 2 bullet time. It's around about 110, 120 seconds, give or take. So FNATIC gonna, once again, just play a little bit slower. They're not really minding this mid to late game phase, which is going to play into Evil Genius's side as well, because they've got two teleports. They're going to have the ability to answer this split pushing. I'm loving the different items that you can see here from the two different teams. Runic Bulwark has been picked up by Soaz, so he's got that aura. He's going to have the magic resist, the armor, the HP regen, etc. And on the bottom there, Leona working towards possibly a Frozen Heart. I mean, a lot of armor, no boots yet either, which is something we're seeing more and more supports doing these days, but just really stacking that armor, stacking some HP, and just going to become a meat shield for her 3 carries to keep them alive.
And in this patch, Frozen Heart got a slight, cost more and 10 extra armor, I believe, overall.
Yep.
Obviously, we are on 3.02, which is not always easy for us casters to keep up with stuff like that. So, these changes coming in are going to be affecting what we're going to be seeing picked up between these two sides. But right now, FNATIC getting themselves ready once again to steal that blue buff away. We saw it on its last spawn, and Soaz is in position again.
And in terms of itemization, you can see the Haunting Guise has been upgraded to the Leandri's Torment for quite a while now for Expec's Katarina. He's also got that Rylai's Crystal Scepter. So the slow, the double damage, a number of red pings. FNATIC are trying to set this up. Pekka is in the bottom lane though. Will we see him teleport in?
Well, here we go. Soaz charging forward here, going to change his position slightly, but EG not want to get anywhere near it. But Pekka could be a little bit separated from his team as we are going to see the wall come down. He just shumpos over to safety to the rest of his team. And FNATIC now thundering down the middle as the stun comes in onto Yellow Star. And Rated in the middle, they pull Froggen right to the back. He gets egged up. Expeke going low, gets the Kale ultimate on him, and that could just be enough to really swing this fight. And Rated is in there. There's a double kill for Misfortune as they try and close down Yellow Pete. Will he be able to get away from this one? He will be forced to use his flash, but Peke going in there may have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. Soaz comes around. Peke somehow survives that one, and that's a 2-for-0 for FNATIC.
The rest of FNATIC pushing down this inhibitor turret. Peke back in that middle lane now. Everybody's very, very low. Intervention saved his life. It was exactly like you said. The ultimate from Kale is completely game-changing. 30 minutes on the clock. The first inhibitor goes down. There's a lot of damage for FNATIC, so they just might decide just to take this top inner turret and maybe Baron, but they've got to be very careful, because if they don't do Baron, Evil Geniuses could possibly try and push this one down.
Looks like Yellow Pete headed up towards that Trinity Force here, which you know, has become less popular of an item. We can definitely say that here in Season 3. Is N-rated, going to get flung back over there, but he's not really the target that you want right in the middle. It's a Blitzcrank hook, goes right through them. He's not really got much mana here. Yellow Star out of mana as well, and FNATIC trying to back away from this. Peke just gets his W off there, so we see that True Shot Barrage come across. Didn't really do a whole lot. They're picking up the Wraiths as they go, saying, well, you're not stealing them away from us. Well, EG trying to gain ground here, trying to force FNATIC off. Are they going to back away and have a go at Baron themselves? Ultimates
are going to be available very, very soon. Solar Flare is there. Death Lotus is available. Bullet Time almost. Evil Genius is thinking maybe it's a bit too risky. And look at that massive creep wave in the middle lane. They cannot afford to, you know, fight Baron, try pick that one up with all those creeps bashing on their Nexus turrets. Crepo's been caught up. The slow lands. Peke is diving in. He's going to give up a kill. And with Crepo down, you have to think maybe FNATIC are going to try to take Nasha.
Yeah, and that was a little bit unfortunate for Crepo. You could probably say he should have gone a little bit further, but it was stood on top of a ward as well, which I suppose with Baron up there and the 31-minute timer right now, you should probably expect that there's going to be wards around there, especially since FNATIC got that inhibitor down, got those two outer turrets down. They're going to have control of the vision on that side of the jungle, as Froggen is also stood on top of a ward. They're going to go in towards his position, but will it be just a case? Yeah, there goes the wall. He knew that they were coming his way.
Yeah, he manages to just block them off and get them to safety, but in Crepo's defense as well, it looked as though FNATIC were backing off. It looked as though they were going to reset, spend some of the money and come back into lane, but it was not the case. We do see that N-rated has upgraded some items now. It's actually probably going to be the Randian's Omen, not the Frozen Heart. So he's going to be working towards that debuff, making sure that Renekton and Volibear are slowed, their attack speed is debuffed. Try to keep them away from Misfortune if they decide to engage. But the thing is, it's a 10,000 gold lead in favor of FNATIC. 6 towers to 3. They're stealing red buff. They're, you know, clearing out the jungle. Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, Lost Whisper, and a Giant's Belt in Misfortune's back pocket. She's looking very, very strong. Is Yellow Pete going to get caught?
It looks a little bit like that right now as he gets pulled in, knocked up, and killed off there by Yellow Star in the end. He's now 8-0-2.
Flash rocket
Third
grab.
in her turret is going down, and this is bad news. That's really the one thing that EG have got in their arsenal right now, is the bird. That's, wow, Soaz actually pulling in the minion there, just covered up where EG were positioned. But can FNATIC put enough pressure down now? With those super minions coming in the middle, you know, it's a matter of time. We've seen this before from Peke, how good he is at split pushing. That time he was playing an AP niddly, but with teleport you can do that across the board.
And take a look at Blitzcrank. He does manage to catch Wicked. He's knocked up into the air before that slash and dice can go. Finally, he puts some distance between him. The bullet time comes out, but it doesn't get a full channel. The Death Lotus from Peke hasn't been enough to pick up any kills. N-rated still tanking the tower. He's been tanking the tower the entire time. Reset City as Snoopy gets pulled backwards. Peke gets tossed in the background before a last auto attack from Yellow Star manages to secure that one. FNATIC decide they want the win. They turn their attention to the Nexus turrets. Do they have enough to pick it up?
Well, first Nexus turret is going to go down. See there, Anivia trying his best, his Froggen, to stop them coming in. Gets a stun down onto Yellow Star, and lucky enough, because he could have ended up being finished off there. FNATIC are going to go in for the Nexus. Froggen going to get egged right outside of the fountain. Yellow Pete finished off. Katarina will pick up a double kill as he went into the fountain there. And there is the Nexus going down. FNATIC going to beat Evil Geniuses.
What a game. They clearly showed they had a game plan. They executed it well. Congratulations to FNATIC.
Yeah, they certainly had a game plan. Look at that score, 15-2 in the end. A good gold lead for them as well, and that will leave FNATIC feeling very confident. You see the sportsmanship there. These two teams know each other all too well. Certainly good friends in and out of the game as well. So that's it from us here on the caster desk for now. We're going to throw it over to Hosan, Jason, and Demon to analyse the game.
And what a game it was. Fantastic stuff there, and some new picks coming out. Yeah. Blitzcrank, Lane Crank in the top lane. And Hosan, let's talk about the picks and bans, because we were debating it right at the start. You think actually FNATIC completely mentally outplayed EG here? They had it sussed from the start.
I mean, they knew that if they ban Thresh, they will go Sona. Sona gets easily pulled. Then, after they picked the Blitzcrank, they forced Yellow Pit to go Ezreal instead of his
Varus, which he's been playing, yeah.
Yeah, because like you can escape. And that's just like, they also left the Froggen, Anivia.
They left it open on purpose.
Yeah,
they knew exactly that they were going to go for it.
Yeah, but they just left it.